Hour.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so we will go ahead and get started. We will be recording this. If you need to view it at a later time or pass it to one of your coworkers. To start, my name is Alex Cain. I work in information services. I'm an information security analyst, and I'm going to take about 20, 30 minutes of your time today just to go over phishing, what phishing is, and what you can do about it. All right. And our brief agenda is basically we will talk about what is phishing, the different types of phishing on campus, some of the common phish emails we get sent, what we're doing in information services, and kind of what your responsibility is as far as preventing being phished. So what is phishing? Phishing is an attempt by an individual group to solicit personal information from unsuspecting users by employing social engineering techniques. And basically what that means is there are tons of cyber criminals out here who are trying to get your personal information because it's easier to get it from you than a system. Social engineering a person is way easier than cracking someone's password. And when you phish, you have the ability to go undetected because you're sending emails, you're trying to get gift cards, you're trying to get wire transfers. Like there's no way to trace that stuff back to the original person. So that's why phishing is kind of the hot thing right now for cyber criminals because it's easy to do. And on this slide is just the impact of phishing from last year. These are the number of victims that was sent to the Internet Crime Compliance Center, and that's a division of the FBI. And you can see that phishing had the most victims of all last year. And a lot of these were related to COVID, like the coronavirus. There was a substantial number of phishing emails related to it and the vaccine. And the impact of phishing, as you see, is basically you're losing your money, productivity, your data. Sensitive data is a big one here on campus. Most people are trying to either get financial information, student information, because that type of data, they can get a lot of money for on the dark web, because basically they just sell it to the highest bidder. In total, in 2020, it was 4.1 billion in losses reported to the FBI, which is like a 70% increase from the prior year. I believe the prior year was 1 billion, something like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a big thing. And at any time, if one has any questions, feel free to just interrupt me and ask or put into the chat. So why does phishing work? Basically, we're all in a rush. Everyone's rushing nowadays. We're all busy with work. We're all busy with our personal lives. And from the cyber criminal perspective, phishing is easy, as I said earlier. I can honestly buy a list of 500,000 emails on the dark web, and I can just put that into something, just send emails to all of them. Or I can go to a website like UR website, for example, get all the emails of all the staff and just send a phishing email out, trying to get a gift card, trying to get anything. And it's easy to do. Like, it's just one button for the cyber criminal. If they get one or two people, they win. And that's basically why phishing works. We're in a rush, and so for cyber criminals, it's easy. So different types of phishing. The goal of the cyber criminal, basically, is to obtain your credentials, number one, your bank account information, social media work, like any type of password you have, username and password. Download malware to your computer. Basically, they can spy on you with this. They can log your keystrokes on your computer. They can see what you're doing. Ransomware is a big one now. You probably heard a lot about in the news. Basically, they'll lock your computer up and say you give us $1,000 or we'll unlock it for you, or all your information is lost. And a lot of people pay this because you have sensitive information on your computer. You have pictures, you have unique things on your computer that you need, and there's no way to really get it if they encrypt your drive with ransomware. And that's a big thing in organizations. Also at UR, it's a big concern of ours that we try to, do different means to prevent. But it's something that's out there right now. Ransomware is really big. You probably see it on the news recently. Howard University had to shut down classes for, I believe, 2 to 3 days because they got hit by ransomware. University of California last year paid $1 million because they got hit by ransomware. So that's a big thing. Like we try to preach phishing here so much because we don't want people clicking on these links to install malware that spreads ransomware. Because it can start with a single computer. It can just go through your network. And we have things in place to prevent that, but it's a possibility. And another type of phishing is extortion and sextortion. Basically, with those ones, cyber criminals will say they have something sensitive that they will send to all your contacts unless you give them money. And that could be anything. Like most times it's fake. They have no proof, but that's the email you'll get. We have a video of you doing XYZ, and unless you want to release, pay us this amount. Scams is a very big one on campus. A lot of you probably have seen them. Gift cards, like, are you busy? Can you go to the store, buy me a gift card real quick? I'm in a meeting, I can't talk. Can you do this? Or work from home, get paid $300 a week, basically driving around. A few of those have gotten through, like you've probably seen them. But that's a big one also that goes on, the scam phishing. And the newer one is basically phishing and SMS phishing. The SMS one is basically text messages. Because if you get someone's phone number, there's nothing we can do on campus to prevent that. We have no tools on your phone. So they'll send you an email and be like, can you text me from this number, and try to do everything via text message. Or they'll give you a call, which is phishing, like voicemail phishing, voice phishing, basically. All right. And yeah, like as I was saying, on campus, the common types is the gift card scam, which happens a lot, sextortion, easy money job offers, and trying to get your credentials. Log into this website. It'll look like Office or Outlook, but it's actually a scammer trying to get your credentials. So the gift card scam, this is the most popular one on campus. The subject is always going to be, are you available? I have an urgent matter. Can you please help me? This is important. And the display name is always going to be someone that works here. When you just look at it, the email addresses might be off by a little bit. The email address is going to be wrong, but the name that actually shows, it will say like Alex Cain or Kevin Creamer. It's going to be a legitimate employee at the university, but you have to look at the email address, see that it's fake. And they're always going to have some excuse for you to basically go out and get a gift card and send them a gift card number. And the thing with the gift card is, like, if you send them that gift card, it's just like cash. There's no getting that back. Like, you can call the companies or whatever. You're not getting that money back because it's treated just like cash. So once it is sent, it is gone. So that is one to be very aware of here on campus. I believe when you get an external email, you now see that it's from external at the top of your email. And it does say references gift cards because it's the big thing on campus that people have fallen for. And this is basically a typical one of how a gift card scam will start. You would get something from this person who basically probably would work here, but the email address, as you see, is just a Gmail account. Someone made it online, free Gmail account, and just say, are you available? The correct signature and everything. And if you're in a rush, you may not pay attention to it. You might just reply and be like, yes. And just keep the conversation going until you're in, Walmart buying a gift card. And this is another example, basically asking you to send the PIN number with the pictures of 2 item gift cards. So, and as I said, people have fallen for these. So with display name spooking, in this example, the former president, Ronald Crutcher, as you can see, it's his name, but the email address is wrong, which is something a lot of people don't pay attention to. You can just use a free account, a hacked account, whatever. It's easy to do. And like for Gmail, for example, you just go into your settings and change your name to Ronald Crutcher in settings and send an email, and it'll show as Ronald Crutcher wherever you send it. So you have to pay attention to the email addresses. So this is Outlook for Windows. It looks different on Windows versus Macs, which is mobiles. So I'll just show you the different variations. So this is Outlook for Windows. As you can see, the name is correct. The external email, which is right beside it, is incorrect. However, if you're using a Mac, well, when you reply, you also see it right there also. But on Macs, when you hit the reply button to an email, it only shows the display name. So that can be a problem for Mac users. If you're getting a spoof email, you don't see the email address by default. You only see the display name, which anyone can set from any email address. So on a Mac, you need to double click on the name. If you double click the name, it'll show the email address. So I want to keep preaching that point. Basically, you just want to look at the email address of any email you're suspicious of. And Outlook for mobile, kind of the same deal. By default, it just shows the name. You have to tap the name to reveal the details, because a lot of people do fall for this on your cell phone. On a cell phone, you only see the display name by default. This is using Outlook, the Outlook app, which is available for iPhone and Android. And I'll go over that iPhone app in a second. But basically, you have to tap the name to see the email address. And if you have just an iPhone, you have to basically tap the name and kind of go into the details of the contact, which will show the email address. It's a little bit more because, I mean, it's an iPhone. Everything's locked down, but you have to click on the name kind of twice to get to the point where you can see the actual email address of who's sending it. And if you're using the Google app on Android, you have to tap on the name also, and it'll show right below it. And I believe that's also for, there's a Gmail app for the iPhone. It probably works the same way. But yeah, display name shows by default. You basically have to tap on the name to see the email addresses. And this is another one, basically phishing or text message phishing. You'll get a lot of emails right away. The person tries to get you to give you your personal cell phone. Because if they have your cell phone, as I said, there's nothing we can do to circumvent that. They're trying to circumvent our security, basically. So if they get your office number, your cell phone, you're kind of on your own at that point. There's nothing like IS can do for you. And you just have to be aware, because they can pretend to keep being, in this example, Ronald Crutcher. And at that point, who knows what he may ask for, and you think it's the actual Ronald Crutcher, and you're trying to, do it. So if someone's asking you for your cell phone number, you might want to call that person and see, like, are you actually emailing me? That's the big thing. If you're questioning something, pick up the phone and call that person, or forward it to us in IS. We can be like, this is a phishing email. Sextortion, which is another one that happens on campus, is threatening to reveal evidence of sexual activities. And most times, the scammer or cyber criminal will say they installed a virus on your computer, they have access to all your contacts, and we have access to these videos, and we're going to send these videos to your contacts unless you give us this amount I was saying earlier. And the payment most times, well, I'm not going to say always, most times is cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, Dogecoin. It's a lot of them now. You read it, and basically, that's how they get payments, because you can't really track that. There are other ways to do it with cash. They might ask for a gift card, but that's normally how the sextortion crimes go. And sometimes they'll even include your old password, which can be acquired from the dark web. Because if you have old email address that you've used for multiple accounts, every year something's breached and your password is probably leaked. That's why we always say use a different password for different accounts. So a lot of times, somebody doing this can go on the dark web, get a list of old username and passwords, send the passwords to the user trying to improve their credibility. Be like, I have your password, so this has to be real, what I'm saying. Whereas they just went online without your password on the dark web. And the link I have here, just FYI, is Have I Been Pwned, basically owned. And that is a website where you can check to see if your email addresses are on the dark web, kind of. This is basically for one of my personal email addresses. And you can see it's been involved in 11 data breaches. And if you go through, you'll see like some of them were my emails, some of them were my passwords. It's nothing I did wrong. It's just the company I was dealing with got breached. So now my password is out there. So that's why personally, I use different passwords for everything, and I use LastPass, so I don't really remember my passwords. But this is a very helpful site if you're ever just curious, like, has my email address and password and account information been leaked out there? Like eBite, I used to use eBites, but April 29, they had a breach. So password and email addresses. So that's something useful you might just want to check out every now and then. And you can also set up an alert to get an email if your account is found on the dark web for new breaches. All right, so back to this. As I was saying, like most of these are just sent out in bulk. You send out 1,000 of these and just hoping you get 1 hit or 2 hits. And most times they do. They never include actual proof, and the scammer tells you, like, don't contact anyone or I'll, just try to threaten you more. And this is the example of CaseBased Extortion, basically. And you don't have to read through it, but basically they say they put a virus on the machine. The person visited a dark website, and we have videos, and they have a Bitcoin wallet asking for $746. Like, this is a common thing. It's fake, but if someone's actually concerned, they might actually pay it, because extortion can be real. If you frequent adult websites or use video chat and you do have a virus on your computer, it's possible that there is someone that can do that. But they would normally give you proof in those situations. So that's another reason, basically, to keep your antivirus up to date, keep your computer up to date, because technology can be hacked, and having the most recent patches help with that. So the next one is the easy money job. I know we've all seen this on campus if you've been here at least a year, because I know 2 has gotten through our filters. And that's basically promise you to do something that you already do. It's pretty simple, like drive around, shop. Then one of them was to put a sign on your car and drive around, and like $300 a week. It just sounds like really easy money. And what happens is they try to get you to wire the money before you do anything. It's kind of weird. They'll send you a cashier check, but it's not going to clear. So then they ask you to wire the money. It's this whole thing, but it's fake at the end of the day. Like, none of it's real. If it's too easy, if it's too good to be true, most times it is. And this is an example of basically one. I think this is the one from last year. Okay, this was the donation one. And basically $300 a week, 10 hours per week. I mean, as a student, that's easy money. Like, I'm going to jump all over it. But you just got to be aware that stuff like that is normally fake, and Google is your friend. Like, you can normally Google the actual subject, and you'll see that it's a scam. Or you can always forward to us in IS at spam@richmond.edu. But if it's be true, most times it is, especially when it comes to money. Credentials phishing is another big one. There was quite a few of them that went out last week, actually. That's basically when you get a website like YouTube, for example, or Outlook, anything you actually use, Amazon, and it asks you to verify your account or your password expires. So click here to update your password. And, of course, you have to put in your own password. But basically, it takes you to a fake website. And all they're doing is capturing your email address and your password. It's going to look exactly like the real website, the real Amazon, the real YouTube, the real Outlook, whatever. And it's going to capture your password, and then it's going to pass you right along to the real website, so you'll never know the difference. But you have to be aware of these when you get the email from them, because there are telltale signs. Like, normally the email address is just off. Like, you're not getting anything from Google Drive like this from us, from IT Help Desk via Google Drive. It's going to be from a richmond.edu address. Like, this should just be suspicious. IT Help Desk Service 01@gmail. So you just got to be very aware of where it's coming from. And a lot of people send these to me as spam or richmond.edu and be like, is this spam? Is this not? And I can look at the details and the headers basically of an email and tell you. And this one, like, someone got something from Bank of America, they clicked on it and it took them here. That's not the Bank of America website. Like, this is a fake page. It probably looks very similar to the real Bank of America login page, but that's how basically your credentials are phished. And this is an example of another email. Basically, your final warning that you have to verify your account. Update now. Like if someone's in a rush and not paying attention, oh, you know, I got to update my enrichme.edu password, and they just click update now, type in their password. The other type of phishing that we see a lot of is direct deposit. That's happened here also. A scammer tries to have your direct deposit information changed to their direct deposit information. And that has succeeded here in the past, to be honest. That was a while ago. Things are in place to prevent that now. Fake vendors sending things in, that's another one. To get an invoice, like this need to be paid. So if anyone's in procurement, you're questioning an invoice, send it to me. I can verify it for you. Lottery winnings. You won this amount of money, you know, send me your personal information and we'll send a check to you. You're not going to get your lottery winnings through, you know. And the classic, which probably was one of the first ones I remember, is the Nigerian prince phishing scams. Basically, a Nigerian prince wants to leave their money to someone and they need your information, but for it's all a scam, it's all fake. So behind the scenes, what do we do in IS? We have an email gateway called Proofpoint. It's basically an email firewall. Everything that could come, email that comes into our organization goes through Proofpoint. And basically, it scans for viruses. It scans for known spam. Or if something's going to all the inboxes at once, it'll start looking at those more and start quarantining those. It can actually pull an email out of an inbox if it's spam. Like we've had to do that before. That's basically our main defense against phishing emails. We try to make sure you do not get a lot of them. Like we actually do block quite a few a day. I mean, like thousands per day, but some of them do get through. And we ask that you send those to spam@richmond.edu. I know a lot of you do because I respond to those like all day. We also started the spam digest, which I believe you get every morning. So that's where you can allow spam, some things get stuck there, and you can allow the sender to send it. Or you can block a sender using the digest. If you go into it, there's an option to just block a sender altogether. So the spam digest is our way of giving you control of your own spam email. So we don't just stop everything. You can look at some of them and be like, okay, I actually want this, and allow it to come through and add the sender to an allow list. And we also have the spam inbox. Anything you're questioning, you can send to us. Anything that just looks kind of suspect, just send it to me. Like we can add rules, put rules in place to stop it from getting to anyone else. And more of our response to phishing. Like I said, we can add a sender to a block list. If something's getting through and you got any, like this is definitely spam, send it to me and we can add it to a block list. We can add custom rules also to stop similar attacks. False negatives, we send a proof point. Like if something gets stopped that shouldn't get stopped, say you think our spam filter is stopping your mail, you can email spam and I can look for you. Like we do get false negatives, things that should have went through. That's very, very rare. But if you get an email like, I haven't got this email yet, it's legit, let me just email spam@richmond.edu and see if Alex can find this for me. We do report offending URLs to Google and Palo Alto. Palo Alto is our firewall, so they can block a lot of this stuff from even getting to us. And we attempt to delete offending messages from the mailbox, as I mentioned earlier. And if it's really bad, we'll attempt to contact the website owner to have it shut down. Because sometimes, you know, host companies, they're hosting different websites. They don't know what they're hosting. So we'll respond to the host company and be like, this is a fraudulent website you're hosting, and we'll try to get it shut down. What you can do, if it seems a little fishy, like I said many times, check the email address. That's the biggest thing. As it says, email addresses can be spoofed too, but that's very rare. More than likely, you're going to get something from a fake email address. It takes effort to kind of spoof the email address, but be suspicious of every email you get, basically. If it seems a little odd, just question it or send it to me. Or right here, send a copy as an attachment, please, to spam@richmond.edu. I say as an attachment because that allows me to actually kind of do more forensics on it. I can kind of dive into it a bit more if I have it as an attachment, not just forward it to me. As I also mentioned, call the person if you're unsure. If I got a weird email from Kevin, I'll pick up the phone, call him, or walk to his office and be like, "Did you send this to me?" That's really the best way to know for sure. And just check the web links to make sure they match the destination. And the links are in the website of the body. If you put your mouse over it, it'll show you where it really goes to. So a link can say Amazon.com, but if you hover your mouse over it, it may be like something else, not Amazon. And you know, okay, this is a fraudulent email. And if they give you a sense of urgency to act, just like the gift card scams, like I'm in a meeting and I need this mail. It's trying not to give you time to process what's going on. So those are all signs that something's not right. And it's a shared responsibility. Like, it's going to take all of us to kind of basically not end up on the news with ransomware. So any suspicious email, phishing, report it to spam at richmond.edu. That's the biggest thing you can do. That way I can actually start looking at patterns, going from and making sure like we're not breached, basically. On Talent Web, there's a phishing foundations course that was just added, 15 minutes. It'll be a lot of what I talked about today, but it also got like a little quiz at the end. I would recommend everyone take that course, and I'll probably include it in a spider bite soon. And exercise good cyber hygiene. Avoid using your work email on personal sites, and avoid using the same passwords too. Just try to keep everything unique. Avoid personal and work. Just keep them separate as much as you can. Check with the sender if you get an iMessage, as I said a couple times, and update your software, as I also mentioned. Like, having your software up to date on your laptops will prevent a lot of this. Like, someone can try to install malware, but if your antivirus is up to date and your computer's up to date, a lot of times it's not going to do anything. You're just going to be like, "Oh, my virus blocked it." Okay, keep moving. And for your work computers, I manage that, like all of your viruses, protection is up to date. So if you click it on your work computer, more than likely it's going to be blocked, but we don't want to get to the point where you're clicking on it. And if you respond to a phishing email, let us know. You're not in trouble. Like, no one's going to write you up. I just need to know, to be aware of what to look for. Like, if I need to wipe your computer, if we need to look at your antivirus, or if it's finance information, we need to talk to HR. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. We just need to know, come up with the best course of action. And that is all I have for you. Were there any questions out there?
Hey, Alex. Dude, I have a question.
Hey, go for it.
On our Outlook for Web, we have buttons at the top that allow us to select whether something's junk or phishing or to block that particular email. Does that actually do anything, or would you prefer us to email them to you instead?
So yes, that will be it. But I would ask that you also email it to me. And also, the best way to do it now, to be honest, is using the spam digest you get in the morning. If you block it that way, like on the Proofpoint side, and we get enough of them, we can block it using the gateway. So we're asking everyone now to kind of use that spam digest to block your emails if you need to.
I got you. Thanks.
Yep, no problem. Were there any more questions? All right, if not, I appreciate the time. Feel free to email me, come up with any questions later. acain@richmond.edu. Like I said, for any emails to spam@richmond.edu. And this video will be available at a later date on the IS website. So really appreciate your time. Thank you and have a good day.